For more than 20 years, CTV has captured the moments that matter in our community. From our studios in St. Clair, you're watching Focus with Paul Dingeman.
Welcome to another edition of the Focus program. My name is Paul Dingeman. Nice to see you. We are on location, as you can see, in front of a nice airplane out at the St. Clair County International Airport, where the offices of the Emergency Operations Center are. And there was a press conference held here recently where the Detroit Edison donated M95 masks, and there was some dignitaries that talked about that. We've got that for you. And then later in the program, we'll be joining Justin Westmiller himself, the director of the Emergency Operations Center, to talk about water and flooding in St. Clair County. So let's begin.
Okay. Well, everybody, I'm Trevor Lauer with DTE, and we're here in St. Clair County today. The DT Energy Foundation is doing a lot to support the communities that all of our employees live and work in. And we're really happy today to be here in St. Clair County. We're dropping off 10,000 respirators for use for the first responders here in St. Clair County. We've been doing this in a lot of the communities. We've distributed 1.1 million of these so far, not only here in Michigan, but across all of the other states that DT operates in. And it's one of the things that we're really happy to contribute back. This is a trying time for all of us, not only personally, but in all the communities that we're in. And as a company at DTE, we don't have the ability for our people not to work. They're staying at work, they're working every day, and I can't say how proud we are of the 11,000 men and women at DTE, and then the communities that we have the opportunity to work with. So really proud to be here today and to work with the community.
Can you tell us what the donation is exactly? How many? You said 10,000 or?
Steph, let me get it right. We've given 20,000 already?
Correct.
Yeah, so
20,000 total, 10,000 last week, today 10 weeks.
yeah. So the donation today is 10,000 additional N95 masks. They're the ones that are hardest to get. Last week we gave St. Clair County another 10,000 of these masks. DTE approximately 4 weeks ago put in an order for 3 million N95 masks through different organizations. Our foundation ordered 1.5 million of them, then we ordered 1.5 million of them for our operations, knowing that we needed these. We're fortunate, a company our size, we have a lot of supply chain and a lot of opportunity to reach out. So we thought, get ahead of it and try to help a lot of the first responders around the state of Michigan and the other states we operate in. So this is an example, I think, of the DT Energy Foundation being able to help the communities, and we're really proud of the partnership we have here in St. Clair County.
Specifically, do you know where those masks are going in the county?
You know, I'll let the two county executive here talk about where the masks will go. I don't know how they'll use them, but I would encourage anybody that sees this, if you need masks in your county, please reach out to your emergency management organization in the county. They can reach out to DTE, and we'll be happy to help.
Okay. On another subject, how are things coming at Blue Water Energy Center?
Yeah, we demobilized the Blue Water Energy Center as the pandemic hit, and our goal is to remobilize that site and have it fully back to work on May 4th. Most important to us is the health and safety of the employees that work there. So we're putting a series of temperature screenings and personal protection equipment in place and new requirements for the site. We're working closely with the contractor, Kiewit, who's actually leading the site for us. So I would expect by May 4th we'll have most of the site back up and running, and we should be able to stay on track for the original construction and commissioning of the plant.
There are some new residential and commercial programs I think you have available to people.
Yeah, we have a series of new, well, I won't call them new. Let me say it this way. There's a lot of people that are unemployed now, and there's a lot of people that pay our bills that are struggling out there. So what we've tried to do at DTE is set up programs that if you contact us, we will work with you. We're trying to extend payment terms. We're trying to put people on different payment terms. We're connecting people directly with assistance that's coming out of the federal government. We have tried to set up a network to try to help commercial businesses. The biggest thing I can communicate to any of the customers of DTE is please reach out to us because we can help you. The worst thing that can happen is for a customer not to do anything, because there's a lot of assistance assistance that's available right now for customers, and we want to be able to help customers get that. That way they don't get a bill that keeps growing and growing. While the federal government is providing the assistance and the state government is providing it, we want to help our customers capture as much of that as possible. So we've got a series of customized programs. We want to keep the lights on and the gas flowing for everybody we can in the state.
Great.
Are you done?
I'm done.
You had talked about getting back to work at the Blue Water Energy Center. In terms of getting back to construction, but I'm assuming a lot of the parameters that you're talking about applying there are to the facilities that don't stop operating and where employees can continue to work. Do you have any idea? Can you go over what those parameters were again, and maybe how many local employees that consists of?
Well, I'll try to answer the question this way. So at all of our facilities, approximately 2 weeks ago, we put in a process that if you go to a DTE facility, we now have security guards and nurses that will take your temperature, right? And they will ask you a series of different questions. And based on temperature screenings and questions, you can either enter the facility or not. And what we're trying to do is not only help the people that may be sick, but make sure that that sickness isn't going anywhere else. We need to keep our services are such that we need to be able to keep the gas and the electricity flowing for everybody that's home right now. So we got to protect our workforce. Now, as we start to ramp up sites like the Blue Water Energy Center, we're going to have the same requirements there for all the contractors that are working on our facilities. So we'll have temperature screening every day that somebody has to come in and they'll get their temperature taken. And if your temperature is abnormal, you're not going to be able to come on the site. And we've got a logging process now. So we're quarantining people that are showing up that are sick, and then we're not allowing them back into the workforce. And then to bring somebody back out of quarantine, it's equally important to have the right type of testing so that you know that they're through the process and they can actually come back to work. We've learned a lot because our nuclear plant, Fermi, is in a major outage right now. And we have about 2,500 people coming in and out of that site every day. So we've had to learn on the fly. And again, I'll say how proud I am of our medical professionals, our human resources organization, our leadership has really learned a lot on the fly. And we're trying to share that now as much as we can with the other utilities here in the state and also across the country.
Do you know when things shut down at the Blue Water Energy Center? Was there a specific date?
It was shortly after a lot of the governors, I think.
Well, the governor's order came out on March 23rd, I think. I think we shut down the Blue Water Energy Center that following Monday.
The decision was made the following week.
Yeah.
And Jackie, if there's any details, like, probably let me know.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure like how much that alters, that few week span alters any sort of timeline with bringing things.
Well, what we've done at the Blue Water Energy Center is there's still a whole series of employees that are there because we had major equipment deliveries that were still coming. So we still had to take receipt of a bunch of the equipment that was coming in. We're working through with Kiowa right now on the remobilization and trying to understand, will it impact schedule? Whenever you have a major project like that, you build enough flexibility in that things can happen. I think we can still hold the schedule at Blue Water. The most important item I believe we need to address is making sure the workers that come back to the Blue Water Energy Center feel comfortable and know that we can keep them safe. And that's why we're putting the screening processes in place. Because this isn't something that's going to go away in the next month or 2 months. We're gonna be in this new normal and trying to work this way for quite a while.
And then you had mentioned the array of things that have been donated through that foundation. Is it only N95 masks, or has that included other?
Yeah, so the DT Energy Foundation is trying to help in many ways. What we're talking about here is the mask. We've also supported small business. In the last 4 weeks, our foundation has given out almost $40 million of support across the state of Michigan. Unprecedented for us to step out the way we have. But if you're not going to use it at a time like this, I don't know why you would have a foundation and why you would. Now's the right time for us to do it. So we're supporting small businesses. We made a large contribution in the city of Detroit to help small businesses there. I believe there was an announcement today that DTE led getting computers and access for all of the students in the city of Detroit so that they could continue online learning. And we're trying to step in that way in all the communities that we serve in right now, because every community needs help.
I've got a list of stuff I need to
Yeah,
get.
that's
The one other thing that, as it comes up, the Paycheck Protection Program is supposedly have funding approved tonight. We partnered with SBAM on that effort to really try to get small businesses to start applying, working with their lenders so they can benefit from that program. We've been a big partner with SBAM on that. So I'll repeat that.
That's it?
Yeah, you did a great job.
Yeah.
Slide right in here.
I've done this before.
She's
right?
pro.
Right, she is a pro.
Just like the one standing there, so. Cool, any other questions? Mark, do you have any questions?
I'm done.
Okay.
All right, well, how about if I turn it over to Jeff and
Yeah.
you guys can ask him questions?
We'll have to put extra tape in.
I'm gonna let Commissioner Greatop go first, and then,
Thank you.
Thanks,
just a
Trevor.
lot of the questions, just so you know, Justin's gonna get an opportunity to speak, but he's our point person out here on all the EOC, so if you have very specific questions on like where materials, those types of things go, Justin would be able to answer that.
Well, good, thank you. And I want to thank DTE for coming out today with their team and donating to us. I know that they've done a great job. Stephanie is absolutely super at her job. And before that, there was a guy, I can't remember his name. He was,
Ron Chris.
yeah, I know that. I just didn't want to say it. I wanted you to say it, so. Yeah, we get along with Ron real well, but DTE has been an absolute great supporter. If you talk public-private partnerships and things like that in this area, these guys are right up there at the very top. Of course, they pay more taxes than anybody, so they're in here giving some of that stuff back. It's really super for them to do that. I just want to tell you, and I'll get out of the way here because this stuff is way above my pay grade, other than I do accept your gift. Thank you very much, Trevor. My son works for DTE. He has for quite a while. And he did work for Trevor at a period of time. But my son has this give back to the community ethic, and I hope he got it from me. But I want to share that he has passed that on to his kids. My granddaughter, Sydney, 16 years old, is now in the sewing process, and Sydney is home from school. She spends 4 hours a day doing her schoolwork, and the other time she is spending sewing masks and giving them away to the community that needs it. So I guess what I'm saying is that when you look at DTE and you look at Trevor and you look at, I don't know, maybe I'm a part of this, and then you look at my son and then you look at my granddaughter, how we give back to the community, and really that's what we are all about. And I think that that speaks very well for St. Clair County, the type of people that live in this county and support this county. And once again, Trevor, DTE, thank you guys so much for what you're doing for us.
Thank you.
We wouldn't want to have to wear one of these things 24/7. I think Bill covered a lot of it. I got an opportunity to speak at the grand opening of the Blue Water Energy Center. DTE has been in this community since 1914 when they built that first plant in Marysville. We're talking over 100 years here, and I think everybody that's locally, we have a lot of family, friends, you know, different people that work there. I know the contractor Kiewit now has hired a lot of local contractors, local individuals. A lot of my friends used to have to drive to the Zug Islands every day, and I can't tell you how happy they are getting an opportunity to work 5 minutes away from work. They're ecstatic. For us, the county officials, really what our job is to do is to put the right people in the right places. And Justin Westmiller out here, along with Dr. Mercantant, we've got our EDA, which is handling a lot of the small business. It was very interesting. When this came down, lots of questions for grants. Dan Casey has really been at the forefront of that. So our job really from the elected officials is just to support. I talked to Justin, what do you need, Justin? And really stay out of the way, let these people do their jobs. So I'm going to turn that over to Justin right now, and he can tell you a whole lot more about the stuff than I can.
Okay, just to clarify, I've never told him to stay out of the way. But, well, thank you. First off, to all the partner employees at DTE, I want to say thank you very much for your donation of the 20,000 masks. Trevor, and to all your people, thank you so much for everything you do for our community. We obviously appreciate everything you do for our hospital employees, for our first responders, for our community. It's a wonderful gift, and we will make very good use of the masks. And for the community, understand that we will do everything we can to make all of these resources you see behind me put to very good use. This is an unprecedented time. You hear that word a lot, and all of the staff in the EOC is working diligently to make good use of resources, to get out there and come up with a very good testing plan These are all things that we're working through right now in the EOC. This is very difficult because of the global supply chain issues that we're all going through. So we appreciate all the assistance we can get from all of our community partners. It's huge. You've heard me say a lot that it's a struggle, and it definitely is a struggle, but we're working through all those issues. So are there any questions that I can answer? Yes, ma'am.
Now that we're in like the 6th week or something.
Right. Like day 48, right?
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm sure you have some idea of how quickly this stuff goes now, especially since this is the second of 2 10,000 mass donations.
Right.
How quickly would you expect this sort of thing to be distributed, and could you be as specific as you can be about maybe where that goes to what first responders, and maybe where you're seeing that stuff run out the fastest?
Sure. So we have a 1 through 7 priority system right now, and that's been distributed from the state to us. And the number 1 priority right now is hospital systems and EMS providers. And then after that, it's first responders, and that means fire departments and police departments. And then after that, it's acute care providers, and that means your first line doctor's offices. And then it steps down from there. Well, and then I need to add long-term care. So they're basically right up there with EMS providers. So that's EMS long-term care, and then it steps down to doctor's offices and goes down from there. And I can actually provide you that list offline. It's very detailed, and I probably get lost in the minutia there. But there is a priority list. We've probably gotten 25, right, Nancy? 25 or so deliveries. Trust me, a lot has gone out and a lot has come in, and we're tracking that all every single day that comes in. We are not stockpiling the stuff you see behind us. We have gotten a lot in and a lot has gone out. So we are looking to make deliveries every single day to all of our providers and all of the people that are asking for resources. As we begin to open up, that priority list is going to change, because every doctor's office that's doing telemedicine right now is going to be reaching in to grab supplies here. So that's why we've received a big lot shipment in, because we need to start feeding those doctor's offices, because what's happening right now is there are no resources available to order. So the state is shipping stuff into us, the federal government is shipping stuff into us, and we have to be here to help those people get back to work. So we're managing those resources from a central feed point right now, and that's what's happening.
I guess so that it doesn't see, you're not stockpiling, so 10,000 comes in, 10,000 goes out.
Absolutely.
But is there a system for tracking just how much these level priorities need a week or a day, or is it too hard to keep track of?
Yeah, absolutely. So the state is actually helping us with that. They have created a dashboard for us to understand a burn rate. So we know right now we're like at a 7-day burn rate where we will be out of surgical gowns in between 7.5 and 8 days. Throughout the entire state, we know that we will burn through all of the surgical gowns in the state, we believe, in 7.5 days. That's how light we are on surgical gowns throughout the entire state. That's where we are in this time. We're at a dangerously low level with certain parts of our PPE system right now, just to put a number on it.
And then do the community donation locations, all those remain the same? I think that they were...
We have not changed those right now.
So 2 Port Huron high schools.
The 2 Port Huron high schools, the Marysville High School, and then I think there's a couple more out west, and we're using all the CMH locations, right, Nancy? That's what we did. So the CMH locations are also being used as donation drop-offs. And the other great thing that does, until the federal government reduces the 25% match to 0, all of the donations that we take in, both time volunteer donations and product donations, that actually will be factored into our 25% match for the major declaration, and that reduces the amount of money the county may have to pay to our 25% match. So part of this donation actually helps in that, so we appreciate that as well. So thank you, Trevor.
In terms of reimbursement?
In terms of reimbursement, yes, ma'am.
Okay. I almost said sorry.
It's been mentioned many times, but what else can the community do to help the Emergency Operations Center?
So a couple of things. One, continuing to stay at home and stay safe helps immensely our public health system. We are seeing the numbers continuously rise, anywhere from 5 to 12 cases a day. Today you saw, and I'm glad we're having this meeting, today you saw the number rise 22 cases. Now, that mostly was attributed to the addition of some clerical issues where we just had to kind of rewrite the numbers a little bit. We did not add 22 cases in one day. I think we actually added 5 cases today, but we had to kind of make sure the numbers were correct today. So that was just a cleanup of the numbers. We only actually added 5 or 6 cases today, but we did add 22 to the number count. So just to clear that up for everybody, there was only 5 or 6 cases actually added through testing, but we did add 22 to the number count. We just want to, and I think we're putting out a statement on Facebook and some other places to that today. So we did not jump 22 cases overnight. We only jumped 5 or 6. But so that's one thing. Stay at home, stay safe for as long as you can, because that just continues to flatten that curve. That's very important. As we begin to open up, if you do not have a reason to be out and to be amongst other people, social distancing will continue to slow these numbers down. We will see a rise in cases because people will start to get together and get close, and this virus really doesn't care what you're doing. It will move from person to person, and we will see a rise in the numbers. I don't say that to scare people. I say that just to give you information and understand what will probably happen, okay? In the meantime, do be safe. Wear your personal protective gear, wear your masks, wear your gloves. Do all the things that you see the people behind me doing and that you saw me doing and you all are doing. Just practice safe virus control, right? That's about the most important things you can do right now until we understand and start getting better treatments for this, better approval for, where we start getting better control of the virus. We're learning many things every single day, and until we get to a point where we're months and months down the road and we have this thing under control, we are going to have to do these social distancing things.
Do you have any news on testing for the county?
So that is the big thing right now. We are, like I've said in other places, we are doing 2 things. We started a task force in the last couple days on tracing. You've heard the governor and Dr. Caldoun talk a lot about that. Dr. Mercanton and her staff are beginning a tracing plan, and they're also working diligently on a testing plan, and I'm a part of that as well. We are struggling on getting supplies. So we are hopefully working on getting more supplies, but they are very far and few between. So there will be much more on that very soon.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
You say tracing and testing, and you guys did talk about testing a lot the other day in that Facebook live chat.
Right.
Just can you clarify what you mean by tracing, and then what supplies for both you're short of?
Okay, so we're short on most testing supplies to do a large-scale testing in the county, right? Right now, we can do about 100 tests a day in the county. That does not meet the requirement to test people twice to return back to work and do all the things that the CDC is hoping to get to make a requirement. Right now, in the county, you're still required to have a doctor's prescription, a doctor's RX to go and get tested. We still don't have the ability to test asymptomatic people because we just don't have the supply. So every time the governor and Dr. Caldoun get on TV and they state, yes, every single person, if you want a test, you can go out and get a test. And then they throw that caveat in there that says, if supplies are available. Right now in St. Clair County, we do not have the supplies available. We are trying in earnest to get those supplies available, but they just are not for St. Clair County yet. And promise you, we are working as hard as possible on that. They just aren't available yet. So the second part of your question is, what is tracing? So what that means is every person that we find that has the coronavirus via testing, that will be tracing that person's contacts and isolating those contacts so that we know kind of with some sort of certainty that they are not passing it along to other people because we've isolated those people and quarantined their contacts. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because
Okay.
to an extent, you guys are already.
We are, but this is with a much higher vote of confidence, if you will.
So the tests that DTE is going to be doing down at the Blue Water Energy Center are separate from what you're talking about.
So they have their own private medical contractors, and I'm certain, I don't want to speak for them, but I'm sure that they have set aside their own testing capabilities, and that is separate from what the county is doing for testing. Correct, right? I don't want to speak for you.
No, I'll happy to clarify.
Please do. We can do that now if you'd like.
So when we talk about testing at the Blue Water Energy Center, what we're really doing is, I'll call it screening.
There you go.
We have the opportunity to ask questions. Have you been around anybody that's been diagnosed with COVID-19? Have you been out of the country? Have you traveled? There's a series of questions we're asking everybody. But then we also take temperature screens. So one of the telltale signs that is showing up in a lot of the people is you get a fever. So what we're doing is turning people around if they show up with a fever. Look, the message that I think you're hearing here and that we're trying to give at our company is, if you're sick, stay home, right? It's what your family wants you to do. It's what your country wants you to do. It's what your county wants you to do. If you're sick, stay home. It's a pretty simple process. But ingrained in Americans is we work hard, right? We try to plug through it. Well, that's not what anybody needs to do today. Right. What we all need to do is be really smart. And the other thing I'd like to touch on is a word that Jeff used, is partnership. You know, DTE's been part of St. Clair County for over 100 years, and we're going to be here for another 100 years. We'll all get through this pandemic together, but it's going to take all of us to pull together. It's not one opinion or another opinion. We're going to have to all come together to make sure that over the next 18 months or whatever the timeline will be until we get a vaccine and we feel comfortable that people are vaccinated, good social distancing, proper PPE, making sure we do the right things. If we're sick, we stay home. It's going to be really important as a society that we all do these things so that we can keep ourselves healthy, we can keep our parents healthy, we can keep our children healthy.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? No?
I'll have more testing, but that's a separate story that
Okay. Well, I'm happy to follow up with you afterwards. And in closing for me, I'd also like to thank all of the members of the press that are here. We really appreciate you helping us get our story out and helping the community understand what's going on. This is a very interesting time in St. Clair County's life, right, and all of our community's life, and they really need you to help get the right information out. And we appreciate your partnership with the EOC and with the leaders of the county helping us do that and get the right message out. And so thank you all for working with us so hard to do that. So thank you.
Well, it certainly was an informative news conference here at the St. Clair County International Airport. The Emergency Operations Center held the news conference, and we thank them for their hospitality. While we were here, we grabbed Justin Westmiller, the head of the Emergency Operations Center, to talk about water and what that effect is going to have on St. Clair County this spring and summer. Joining me now is Justin Westmiller from the Emergency Operations Center in St. Clair County. You're doing a phenomenal job. You're a really busy man dealing with COVID-19, but there's other issues going on in the county, like water. Where are we at? What's happening?
Yeah, so we're keeping an eye on it, right? And we are probably going to have some significant flooding countywide this year. Last year we focused pretty much on the south end of the county. This year it looks like we're going to have flooding in all of our waterfront areas to some degree or another.
Even the tributaries like the Black River and the Bell River, those rivers will probably be raising too.
Yeah, the Bell River, we're definitely going to have issues. We probably won't have issues the farther up the Bell River and the Pine River you go, but because the land is higher. But the Black River, you're going to see some significant flooding issues probably, and definitely the south end of the county, we're going to see some really significant flooding.
In previous years, there's been a sandbag brigade. Is there more sand coming in? Will more sandbags be available? Are they effective?
They're always effective, right? I think right now we're going to be up against the COVID issue, so time will tell on how effective they're going to be versus how available we're going to be able to get people out there to do it and still keep them safe with COVID.
Yeah, those are really challenging, trying to keep your social distancing and fill a bag.
Yeah, so we're still going to be working with our municipal leaders and try and figure out what the right answer is for them. It's all going to be a management issue on how we keep people safe and help them with their property issues. And so it's a balancing issue.
You said before that it's difficult for you as an agency to get out and handle everybody's house and everybody's home.
Yeah.
So what do you want people to do? Do you want them to contact your agency, or do you want to contact their home township supervisor or somebody before they get to you?
Well, they need to work with their local municipal leaders. They also need to work with their flood insurance providers.
Oh, okay.
That is their two very close touch points. And then, of course, they can always reach out to me and I can help them provide that guidance. We did issue a local flood emergency 2 weeks ago just to kind of put everybody on notice. But in these very trying times with COVID, again, it's going to be a difficult summer. But I am there. My department is there to help everybody kind of manage the issue. We are working with the local leaders, and it's going to be a difficult and busy summer.
And I would imagine it's going to be a slow summer on the river, St. Clair River, if there's a no-wake law in effect from Algonac all the way to Port Huron.
We will be working with the Sheriff's Department. We will be working with local law enforcement. We will be working with those local municipal leaders because there are some new laws on the books, and we're going to see how that all works its way out to hopefully kind of help manage some of those issues.
Justin, we'll let you go. We know you're busy. Thanks for your time and all you're doing for the county.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Paul. Thank you.
That's about it for this edition of the Focus program. Thanks very much for tuning in. Till next time, I'm Paul Dingeman. See you soon.
Thanks for watching Focus with Paul Dingeman. Focus is produced at the CTV Community Television Studios in St. Clair. For over 20 years, CTV has captured the moments that matter to our community.